Pray with me, please. God, open our eyes to see you, our ears to hear you, our minds to know you, and our hearts to love you. Amen. When the moon breaks up and the tide goes out of control, will you find me in the water and swim me to the stars? At the end of the world, will you find me so that we can go together? These lyrics from songwriter Ingrid Michaelson I was reminded of while reading today's gospel, with the imagery from Luke of the signs in the moon and the roaring seas. Her music, among others, always fittingly reflected the pensiveness that I often felt as a kid. In becoming a songwriter in my own right at an early age, I relied on these influences to relate to me so that I may relate to the world. And today, where parents have to be wary of influences from the ever-present TikTok and Instagram, when I was a kid, we didn't have phones constantly interrupting our lives with disorganized information and opinions carelessly riling up the world. We often relied on music for that hit of dopamine, that thing to help us identify our emotions. All the long car rides you sat in the back while your parents drove you on summer vacation, all the moments you had to yourself where you needed to kill some time with nothing entertain you, Discmans and cassette players became our best friends. So needless to say, these intense songs became a sort of soundtrack to my life. I was born very musical. I was born with a natural ability to express things through music. And this turned out to be a good thing, a necessary thing, as I relied on imagination to escape from the things as a child that I was unable to process in the real world. Coming back to Ingrid's lyrics, will you find me so that we can go together? Well, who's the we? Who is she searching for? Who are you searching for? This concept of searching is second nature to us as humans, almost as if we're born with something missing or someone. Almost from the day we learn to talk, we're in search of something to fill a void. Once we're old enough to understand there is a giant world out there with people other than our mom and dad, sister and brother, we begin looking for love from others, validation, experiences, excitement. And does any of it sustain us more than a season, a chapter? No. We continue on to the next thing to fill us up. Now, does this mean we're a bunch of dreamy-eyed lost souls? Well, yes, it does. And it's actually how your parents designed it. Now, I'm not talking about your parents here in this world, but the parent Hall and I share, Elaine and Elizabeth share, Cole and his mom share, Richard and Sheila share. I'm talking, of course, about God. After all, he is the reason why we've all left our homes and driven to 112 Randolph Ave this morning to be together. I am glad you are here, and I hope you keep coming back to church. But God was in your bed when you woke up in this morning. He's here now, to the right and the left of you, and he'll be there as you talk with your friends after worship. You didn't have to leave bed this morning to find God. That is not how God works. So why do we often act like it is how things work? Why do we endlessly search for what we possess already? Because though God designed us to be tied to him, we do not magically know this simply by existing. In the same way, we don't magically know how the world works without being taught. God leaves it up to you, and your choices, as well as the choices of others, have a great impact over how, when, or even if you find him. It sounds a little scary when I think about that reality, but it does not have to be. Because God gives us every tool not to be scared and to give your child everything they need so they never have to spend a day of searching. And today we have the joy of witnessing a baptism, a family opening a conversation with God, promising to do their best to steer their child in the direction of him. Because raising your child in the church, raising your child to understand the complex love of how Christ was raised himself is so important. We can raise a child in a house while never raising a child in a home. We can give them healthy food to eat, a school to go to, vacations to experience, and yet they can still be deeply unhappy. Just look at the correlation between people that, quote, have it all and those that do not. Things don't make us happy. Money doesn't make us happy. Taking it further, winning a game doesn't make us happy. Landing a dream job doesn't make us happy. Doing good works doesn't make us happy. Even the love of our lives, our spouse, doesn't make us truly, sustainably, and authentically happy. This is God's design, and from when we take our first steps, we are finding our way back home to God. Until we live into this truth, we scour the earth to find what's missing. We fill it up with relationships, and when one ends in a fight, we get upset, and we turn inward on ourselves, and our sense of self is shaken. While God was the fiery red sunset at the end of the day, and the forecast that cleared up just in time for you to get to work. We fill it up with social media, and when our kids' self-esteem is shattered trying to live up to the expectations of Instagram or TikTok, we get frustrated. We blame ourselves for not protecting them. Our sense of self is shaken. While God was that one commenter that said that they were awesome, and the ad for Disney World to remind them of a family vacation coming up. It's not that our sense of selves are fragile or that we deserve to carry blame, but rather that who we are is directly tied with God. You are not you without God. You aren't really living at all, and we are born to live. Our identity cannot operate separately from him, and so when people try to live their life without him, happiness evades them, until one day, hopefully, they find their way back to God. I say back to God to try and emphasize that God was there before you were born, and he decided to bring you into this world with him. He is literally the beginning and the end. But still, there are people that stuff God into this giant barrel with all their hobbies and interests under the guise of a socially constructed concept, religion. But being in relationship with Christ is not a religion. It's not an external practice. It doesn't help you understand love or to be happy. It is love. It is happiness. And the more we direct our perspective and live this truth, the happier we will be. How many times have you heard inside your own head, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve him. I don't deserve her. I don't deserve it. There's that line in Perks of Being a Wallflower of we accept the love we think we deserve. But God responds to those statements. He responds by trying to find ways to make us understand that the reason he created this world, the reason he died and came back is simply because he loves us. There is no catch or cliffhanger lurking around the corner. As humans, especially in today's world of technology, we're looking around the corner. We're waiting for someone to scare us. Like little Nancy Drews or Enola Holmes, trying to speak to both generations there. We stand there with our magnifying glass at the Bible and say, what are you up to? And even though I may seem like I'm assured in the rock of Jesus Christ, I too fall into this mind trap. Sometimes I think, what if? Oddly, it's when I write a sermon too. You're cooped up alone in a dark room into the wee hours of the morning. You don't answer phones. You don't talk to anybody. So the thoughts creep in. What if all of this, everything you know to be God, doesn't actually exist? What if you get to the end of your life and it's just lights out? Life was existing to exist. But then I hear God in my head say, are you serious, dude? And usually I know better. That's my relationship with God. I'm sure yours is different and he may not call you dude. But Let God have a relationship with you. And from this foundation, from receiving this one unconditional love, from our one true love, God, all good things come from it. And suddenly, winning your next soccer game has profound meaning. The call to tell you you've been chosen for the position makes you gasp with joy. Doing something kind for someone else feels powerful, purposeful, genuine. So I will close with Ingrid's song. At the end of the world will you find me so that we can go together. Whenever we are finished here in this world, whenever our journey on earth ends, God will find you so that you can go into whatever is next after this together. Amen.